Hey guys, how's it going? So, right now you're not hearing any music or any sound or anything like that in the background because that is the very first issue with this game that we encounter. If I stay quiet, you will hear absolutely nothing. And then when we switch to the game by pressing uh, Alt Tab, okay, now it doesn't even. Oh yes, there's a little bit of sound. Yes. So then the sound comes back. So that's the very first issue with the game. Unfortunately, there's no way to fix that. A lot of games will have a um, a toggle over here, so they will have a little toggle over here to make it so that the audio will not be there when the focus is not on the game. Usually a toggle like that is called mute audio when focus lost. That's usually what those toggles are called. This game doesn't have that. And then it's quite irritating when you alt tab. So all of the music and everything falls away when you alt tab. I did previously, like probably in excess of 2 years ago, maybe even longer, I did do a first impressions review on this game. I actually can just check when I did that video. Let's have a look over here quickly. And my first impressions review was relatively positive. Let's see. Yeah, about 2 years ago, I did a first impressions review. Now, since then, I have played quite a bit of the game. Currently, according to Steam, my playtime is at 35 hours. So I've played 35 hours of the game, both in early access and now on the full release of the game. So I am now ready to make my proper review of the final full version of the game. So yeah, basically I'm just going to jump into it. I've already played enough of the game to render my decision and form an opinion on the game. The game is $30 and it's very similar to something like Raft. You will see as soon as we get into the game, it's very similar to Raft. Even though I think this game is much better than Raft, I don't like Raft very much at all. In this game, you can actually control where you go, whereas in Raft, you can't really control where you go, especially at the beginning. At the beginning of the game in Raft, you can't control where you go, which is really irritating. And it also makes it so that you can really get screwed over by RNG with regards to the randomness of not being able to control your ship. So in this game, you can actually control your ship or your airship at least. Um, yeah, the first issue is there's no mute audio toggle at all. Other issues are stuff like they don't tell you what the difficulty options do at all. There's no information at all what the difference is between easy, normal, and hard. No information whatsoever. How fucking difficult would it have been to just add a little tooltip over here? And the game has now been out playable for like 3 years, and yet still they don't have a tooltip over here. So that's really disappointing. Otherwise than that, they don't allow you to change the resolution of the game at all when playing on borderless full screen. And that pretty much forces you to downscale the quality of the game. Now, they don't even allow you to select the downscaling. So they don't allow you to select the resolution scaling size. So normally if I'm playing at 4K resolution, as I am right now, because that is my native resolution, then I would probably be downscaling the game by around 75%. That would put me down to 2K resolution, and my PC can run a game at 2K resolution without any issues at all. Even games like Cyberpunk or Witcher 3 or Far Cry 5, my PC can run it at 2K resolution, 60 FPS without any problems at all. And in this game, you can't do that. You can't select the actual resolution downscaling. So you have to select DLSS or FSR or XESS. And that's really stupid. I don't like those types of downscaling. I want native resolution scaling, and this game doesn't offer a native resolution scaling. So that's another really big issue. The fact that they force you to firstly not select your resolution on borderless full screen mode, and then they also force you to use generative downscaling algorithms such as DLSS, FSR, or XESS. There is no native downscaling in the game at all. So yeah, overall, honestly, not a fantastic start. My settings have reset for some reason. I don't know why my settings have reset. I also saw that with the audio also reset for some reason. And this was definitely not like this. Definitely the textures weren't on high. Post-processing, I believe, was off. I can't remember what else, but yeah, we will see when we get into the game how it all looks. But yeah, let's get into the game, and I'll show you guys a little bit of stuff. So I actually played with a friend on this playthrough. All of my previous playthroughs are deleted because when the game recently released into full release, the 1.0 full release, it invalidated all of your previous playthroughs. So, like I said, I do have like 30 hours in the game, but all of that is lost, which is understandable due to the game being updated progressively. I do have like probably in the region of 15 or so hours of this game live streamed on my channel from more than a year ago. But yeah, that playthrough unfortunately is now gone. So let me just check my GPU usage quickly. Okay, it seems good now. I did change the settings, even though it looks very pixelated right now, but no, we can't do too much about that, unfortunately. Literally because I'm already running the game on DLSS Ultra Performance, which is the lowest setting that you can get with the downscaling. The only other way for me to gain performance is by lowering the texture quality or stuff like that, and that's what I did. So unfortunately, you can't even run the game with a 3080 RTX and Ryzen 5 5700 X3D chip, which is what I have. So I have a very good graphics card, a very good chip, and yet we are not able to run the game at downscale the DLSS Ultra Performance, which, yeah, that is to be expected because the game is running natively at 4K resolution, and that wouldn't be an issue if the developer simply allowed you to turn down the quality of the game. But unfortunately, they don't allow you to do that. So I just want to check, this is actually not the playthrough that I wanted to show to you guys. This is actually a different playthrough, I just realized it. This is like my solo playthrough. So I have a solo playthrough, and then I have a co-op playthrough, which I'm actually more familiar with. So I think instead of showing you the game on this one, I'm going to switch over to the um, to the co-op one, because the co-op one is the one that I played most recently. So co-op, host game. So yeah, the game does have co-op. It is a co-op compatible game. The game is much easier in co-op. Much easier in co-op. Wait, this also is not... This isn't correct. Oh, and now the game is hitting 100% GPU usage again. I don't know why it's doing that. If it's just doing it because we're loading into the world, and once it's finished loading all of the textures, maybe then it will return to normal. But right now it's hitting 100% GPU usage, which is fucking insane. So I'll just have to turn down some more settings, I think. 1 second. Okay, so here we go. I figured out what was wrong. It's really stupid. The developers had uh, a version of the game, which is a 1.0 version. It's the full version of the game. They had that available to content creators, which I played. That available before the game released, and so I played on that one. But it's the full version. It's the 1.0 release of the game. But then I updated my game, obviously after the uh, the game actually released, because they gave us access to this 1.0 version of the game like a week or so before the game was actually released, basically, which is really common with a lot of games. And then obviously now it's like about a month or so after the game has released, they obviously updated the game. They released a couple of updates. And so I updated my game, and I just thought that obviously the game, because it's still 1.0, it will obviously keep my saves, because it's a 1.0 save. It's not like some weird version of a save. It's a 1.0 save. It's literally the 1.0 version of the game. But no, it isn't. The developers didn't add the 1.0 saves to the new version of the game, basically. So literally 1 week before the game released, they gave us access, we played on it, and then they invalidated the saves. So that's really fucking stupid from the developer's point. So I just brought the saves back over. So I had to close the game. I had to go into the game files. I had to copy over my save files, my 1.0 save files, myself, from the previous version of the game. So that is now done, and yeah, it's a little bit of a pain in the nutsack, but that probably won't affect the average player. It's just really stupid that the developers didn't think about adding the 1.0 saves to the new version of the game. It's really stupid. Anyway, they wasted like 20 minutes of my life, but what can you do? Um, so anyway, this is the ship that I spoke about that me and a friend were playing on. We uh, have played way more than on my solo campaigns. I've played co-op way longer than I have ever played on solo. So you can see our ship is really quite big. We basically have two of everything because that's basically what you need to do when you're playing co-op. And like I said, the game is just really a lot easier when you're playing co-op because the game isn't balanced in a way to make solo play as powerful as co-op play. So some games will have solo play, and then if you harvest something, then you get like 50% more resources, something like that. This game doesn't have anything like that. So in this game, if you have two people, then you're going to be progressing literally twice as fast as someone who is playing solo. So the game is playable solo, but it is significantly more difficult solo than co-op. So for instance, in this place, this is actually a big place where we are right now. It's like a main story place. I won't spoil it, obviously, but this is a main story place. And inside there are creatures, enemies, big ones, and they take a whole bunch of hits from your knife before they go down. They take like, I don't know, probably 10 hits before they go down. And the issue is that they will take 10 hits whether you're solo or whether you're in co-op. So if you're in co-op, you still have to do the 10 hits. So the enemies in co-op have exactly the same health and exactly the same damage, obviously, than what they do in solo play. So I think that's really bad because it just makes it really unfair for a solo player because a co-op team, like if you're 2 or 3 or 4, will be able to kill anything in the game 100% or 200% or 300% faster than a solo player. So that's a massive advantage that you get as a co-op team, and then obviously also the speed at which you can harvest resources is so much faster because the game works by shooting passing stuff. So like that one over there, you can shoot it like this and then you get it. It's basically like a raft with the fishing rod, with a fishing rod in Raft, except this laser is basically your fishing rod. And you don't need skill to catch stuff. Like you can just aim at something, even though that one is out of range. You can just aim at something and shoot it. Whereas in Raft, you need to throw your line in a specific way in order to catch the thing that you want to bring on board, basically. So the harvesting is so much easier than in Raft. And if you are 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, or however much, you're going to be able to get so much more um, uh, resources. You're literally gonna have twice the resources if you're playing co-op with one person than what you would have had if you only were playing solo. So the game is not balanced in the slightest um, for solo players. Solo players are going to have a much, much, much more difficult time in the game than versus co-op players. I also don't like the fact that you can't see what is in a container. So the container management is really irritating, to be honest, because you can't see what's in a chest or in a container. So you literally have to open up each and every one to see what is in there. So I recently played Foundry. I played Foundry on my channel for like 10 hours. And um, Foundry has a really cool system where it shows you a picture with numbers on every container to show you what is inside the container, whereas this game doesn't do that. So it just really makes it a little bit of stuttering there. It just really makes it so that the container management and inventory management and storage aspects of the game is so much more of a pain in the nutsack, because if you can't remember exactly where you placed something, like your food container or your resources container or your weapons container, then you have to open up each and every one. Like now, I haven't played the game in probably more than a week or so, and I can't remember where all of the stuff is, because obviously you have specific containers for specific stuff, and I can't remember where that is. So now I will have to go and open up each and every one in order to familiarize myself with where the different stuff was stored, whereas it would have been so much easier if the developers simply gave you a indication on the actual box itself um, uh, of what's inside the thing, you know. So it's just really stupid in my opinion. Like why didn't they add a thing? You know, you can get that on Subnautica. On Subnautica, there's a mod which allows you to see what's inside a container, and a lot of other games do it by default. You know, also Satisfactory. In Satisfactory, you can see what's inside of your storages without actually opening the storages. You know, stuff like that. So yeah, just honestly, the developers could have done a lot more to make the quality of life for the player a lot better, you know? Um, so yeah, the game has issues. The stamina in the game is also incredibly bad, because for the vast majority of the early game, you use a knife like this, and you can only swing the knife 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, then you're out of stamina. And there are places in the game, like you can harvest plants with your knife, and there's also other places where why okay, probably how do I you see, I can't even remember how to water a plant. You're supposed to be able to just press E over here. Ah, there we go. Add water to soil. There we go. Um, what was I saying? There's places with plants where you're going to have to swing your knife like 20 times in a row. And like I just showed you, you run out of stamina after 10 times. Then you have to stand still for like whatever, 20 seconds or whatever, in order for the stamina to come back, you know? So that's really stupid. I don't understand why they made it so that stamina is consumed outside of combat. Like, I don't mind having a stamina mechanic inside of combat, that's totally fine. But outside of combat, it's just really stupid. It makes the game unnecessarily laborious and tedious, and it doesn't add fun to the game. It's just really stupid. Having to swing your knife and then having to stand still for 20 seconds just so that you can get your stamina back is incredibly stupid. So they either should have made it that you don't consume stamina out of combat, or just increased the stamina, because swinging your knife 10 times is not very good. Like here you can see there on the right side there's a knife icon. That is to indicate that it is a plant that can be harvested with your knife. So I have 3 plants here, and I have 3 plants here, and obviously a bunch of other plants over here. If I want to harvest all of my plants, I'm gonna have to rest probably twice. So that's gonna be like 40 seconds of just standing around doing fuck all while I harvest my plants. So, and my garden is actually relatively small. So that's really, really stupid. In addition to that, a lot of games such as this will allow you to uh, increase or decrease certain things. So they will, for instance, allow you to increase the resources that you get, or uh, decrease the need for sleep, decrease the need for food and water, decrease the damage that enemies do. Okay, one of the buildings just fell apart for some reason. Why? They're not supposed to fall apart just by themselves. Was it that one over there? So a lot of games will allow you to customize the settings of the game, and this game doesn't allow you to do that at all. So you can't remove the hunger or the thirst mechanic. You can't remove sleep. You can't make the enemies stronger or weaker. You can't remove stamina or increase stamina or anything like that. You can't increase or decrease resource acquisition. Like, it just really sucks that you don't get given any of those options, whereas in a game like Subnautica, or uh, what's a couple of other ones, Conan Exiles, a lot of those types of games, they allow you to customize your game experience. And yeah, unfortunately in this game, they don't allow you to do that. Which is just really stupid, especially if you're going to be playing the game solo. You would want to make the game a lot easier than what it is right now, because as I already explained, the game is actually really biased against solo players. Solo players have a vastly more difficult time playing the game than co-op players. So unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that. I also don't like the harvesting system. You will see that when I shoot something, it follows it automatically. It's like aim assist. But if you lose sight of the thing that you're harvesting for just a millisecond, literally a millisecond, then the harvesting process is cancelled and you have to redo the entire harvesting process. And that happens a lot in the game. Honestly, it happens continuously. So that's a really, really stupid, and it wastes a lot of time, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, like honestly, the game is fine and everything. The game is fine. Um, there's a lot of backtracking in the game, which I don't like. This is the map, a zoomed in version of the map. I can't zoom out, unfortunately. But there's a lot of these little icons which are towers. We probably can't see one right now, But basically, like that tower, for instance, at the beginning of the game, you only have one thruster and you only have one balloon. Right now, we have several balloons and several thrusters. So if you look at my ship, you can see my ship is a big boy. You start with like this size, just this size basically. And now me and my friend have built a much bigger ship. So with a bigger ship and more balloons at the top, you're able to go higher, and that means that you're able to visit some towers that are higher. But the issue is that if you have traveled to a section of the game that has a lot of high towers and you have not yet unlocked the ability to go up even more, um, in order to visit those high towers, then you're screwed. You literally can't do anything. Like that tower over there, for instance, if you can't go to the top and land at the top, then you're screwed. You just have to move on and you have to come back at a later time. So that's one thing that I don't like about the game at all. There's a lot of that happening, and there's a lot of backtracking that you will have to do in the game. There's already, with me and my friend playing, we encountered a couple of places that are main quest areas, like a main quest place like this, for instance, and then you can't go high enough to land at the landing place because all of the buildings and places like this have a landing place. And if you can't land at the landing place, then um, you can't do anything. Then you just have to move on, basically. Um, so that's unfortunately something that is really tedious, and you're going to be doing a lot of backtracking, a lot of unnecessary backtracking in the game, unfortunately. So that's not very nice. So, like, if you take Raft, for instance, in Raft, you can go to any island you want to. There's no limits to which islands you can go to. If you see an island, you can land on that island and you can explore the island. Whereas in this game, height is the limiting factor. So, just like in Subnautica, if you've played some Subnautica, you are limited through various technologies that you have to unlock to go deeper. So you can eventually go very, very deep into the ocean once you have the appropriate technology unlocked. But at no point are you prohibited from going to a specific area once encountering it. So once you encounter it, you can go there in Subnautica, whereas in this game that is height limited, there are places that we have encountered where our ship can only go this high, for instance, like on that level, but you need to be able to go that high and land at the top in order to explore the tower. So that happens often, and it's just not good because it creates a lot of backtracking that you will have to do in the game. Another issue is the fact that the inventory is too small. The inventory is really, really small. I'm now in this playthrough, I'm probably around 15 hours into this playthrough, and I only just unlocked a small backpack. So the small backpack adds 5 extra spaces, and I'm 15 hours into the game. So for the first 15 hours, you have to go with this small inventory. And I'm sorry, but the inventory is just way too small. It is incredibly small. So I really, once again, just like with the difficulty and the satiety and the sleep and all of those kinds of things, I just would have liked a way to be able to customize all of those things, including a bigger inventory slider or customization or something like that, you know? Um, So yeah, but otherwise than that, like the game has a lot of issues, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's an okay game. The game is open world as anything. It's basically as open world as Subnautica. You can right from the start basically. You can go wherever you want to. You can go in any direction you want. There's 3 different biomes. So there's like a poison evil biome. There's the leaf type biome, and then there's 2 city biomes. And you can go to any of those at any point that you want. There are limitations, like I won't spoil it, but there are limitations that sometimes block you from progressing further in the specific biome. But you can unlock the appropriate technology in order to go past those limitations. Just like in Subnautica, where you're limited by how deep you can go into the water, in this game you are limited by how far you can go into a biome. Eventually you will be able to explore all of the biomes fully, but you have to have the appropriate technology, and you get that from just playing the game basically. Um, so yeah, like honestly, the game is very much similar to Raft and Subnautica and those types of games. Um, but honestly, at the end of the day, I have to say, $30 for the game as a solo player, I honestly don't really think it's that good. I would rather play Subnautica. If you haven't played Subnautica yet, I would much rather play Subnautica. I think Subnautica, let me alt tab here quickly and just double check uh, the price of Subnautica. Uh, yeah, $30. So Subnautica is $30 as well. This game is $30 as well. And Subnautica goes on sale very often for like $10. It actually goes on sale for $10 quite often. So, um, but yeah, like honestly, I honestly would never spend $30 on this game if I haven't played Subnautica yet. Subnautica is simply a better game than this game. It's a little bit different. Like obviously, you don't have a ship at the beginning of Subnautica. You get ships later on in the game, like vehicles. So the game is a little bit different, but honestly, the game is very much comparable to Subnautica. In fact, a lot of the graphics and the objects in the game look very reminiscent of Subnautica. But yeah, honestly, I can't recommend this game if you have never played and finished Subnautica. Even maybe something like Space. What's that other game? Let me alt tab here again. I actually did do a review on the game a while ago. Let me see here if I can quickly see what the name of uh, the game was. It was Astrometica. That's the name. Astrometica. Even though Astrometica is still in early access, I would rather spend the money on Astrometica than spend the money on this game, honestly. It really just comes down to, in my opinion, the co-op. If you're gonna play this game in co-op with friends, then I would say it's a good game. But if you're exclusively going to play the game solo, then I wouldn't recommend the game for $30. The game is just really a pain in the nutsack when you are playing the game solo. The game is really, really tedious and just not very good. if you're playing the game solo. Um, the game is much, 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 much more playable and enjoyable if you're going to play with friends. So I really can't recommend this game for $30 if you're going to be playing solo, because I've played probably, I don't know, 20 hours solo and about 20 hours with co-op, and co-op is so much better. It is vastly better. And that really just comes down to the fact that the game on solo is so much worse with regards to fighting enemies, collecting resources, all of that kind of stuff, because the game is not balanced for a solo player. The game is balanced for co-op, and it would have been playable as a solo player if the developers allowed you to customize your gaming experience, but unfortunately they don't allow you to do that. So, um, yeah, honestly, I can't recommend the game solo. I can maybe recommend it co-op if you have friends to play the game with. Then yeah, sure, it's a fun game. It's not the best game ever. It's not even as good as Subnautica. Um, but yeah, it's okay. But honestly, there are a lot of issues with the game. I would have really liked to see the ability to see into containers, the ability to stash all of your items from your inventory into the stashes, into the chests, just like how you can do in um, Grounded. I recently played a bunch of Grounded, and in Grounded, you have a little thing over here that you just press, and it takes all of your items from your inventory and automatically distributes it into the chests that you are standing nearby. Um, and that's just much, much better, because in this game, inventory management and storage management is really a pain in the nutsack, and things like that, and like being able to see into a container just would have made that much, much more bearable, and not such a tedious experience, to be honest. um, so yeah, that's pretty much my opinion of the game. I hope that the developers will continue to improve the game and add more quality of life features to the game, especially with regards to the solo playability of the game. Because the game just recently released, like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. So I hope they will continue to support and improve the game, even though the game has now gotten a full 1.0 release, because the game has improved over the past 2 or 3 years that I've been playing the game during early access. But unfortunately, it still hasn't improved to the point where I can recommend this game for $30 over a game such as Subnautica or Tectonica or something like that. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't even need to go out and show you guys the game. I have, as I said, probably 15 to 20 hours of the game played on my channel, so you can just go watch that if you want to see how the game is actually played. I don't even need to do that, because the core gameplay of the game is still exactly the same as what it was when I did those live streams. Um, but yeah, maybe I will be playing the game more in the future. Maybe I'll do a couple more live streams, but only if the game, the solo playability of the game is vastly improved. But we will see. Um, so yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. The developers of the game sent me a code for the game like probably 2 years ago. So I probably shouldn't even need to mention it, but they did send me a key like 2 years ago. Um, And yeah, I've done actually quite a few hours of content on the game already, thanks to that little key. But in the instances where a developer does not send me a key, I very much rely on you guys and your support on patreon.com/LFP to support my game purchases, because I wouldn't be able to review even half of the games that I do without your support on Patreon. So if you want to allow me and enable me to do more reviews for you guys, then your support on patreon.com/LFP is the best way to allow me to do more reviews. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.